Hey, look, we've all been there. It's the end of a long day. You're on that last phone call with that customer that you went by and did an inspection for earlier in the day. You have emailed them the quote. They are looking at the quote on the phone with you. Man, you feel like you have given them a good price. You're very confident. Felt good about the conversation that you had with them earlier. Felt good about the fit. Everything seemed like it was great. And then the customer says those dreaded words. I found someone cheaper. Well, what now? Do you lower your price? Do you try to justify it, end up over-explaining it to the customer, or do you just lose the job? I mean, let's be honest. We're out here in the real world. If you're an operator, owner, solopreneur, entrepreneur in the service industry space, you're out there fighting for prices every day and probably slowly dying inside. So listen, let's quit dying inside. Let's have a conversation about it. We've all been told at some point in time over the course of our time in the service industry that our price is the problem, or that pricing in general is a problem. But what if pricing is actually not the problem? What if I found someone cheaper has nothing to do with money whatsoever? Maybe you're fighting the wrong enemy. Maybe you're in the ring with the wrong thing. And so, listen, wouldn't that at least be of interest to you to know, hey, you know what, what am I fighting? What am I really up against here? Am I really up against cheaper competition? There's a Nobel Prize winning psychologist, authored a book called Thinking Fast and Slow. His name is Daniel Kahneman. And he makes a statement in that book. He makes this statement: the first number that is mentioned becomes an anchor. And so what if your customer, the individual you're on the phone with, that you're trying to discuss this proposition with, this proposal with, what if they're not comparing you to reality, right? Maybe they're comparing you to a random number that was told to them that is just floating around in their head. And they think that's the number that everybody needs to get close to or needs to be in the ballpark of. And maybe that other company, that other service industry provider, maybe he's actually not cheaper. Maybe you're not losing to the cheaper option. Maybe you're just losing to the anchor point that's been set in their head. And so listen, you've got a choice here. You can react to that anchor point, which is what a lot of us end up doing. We become very reactive in this industry, sometimes frustrated as well. Or you can dive in a little bit, right? Learn some of what's going on in people's head. Learn some of the psychology of sales. I'm not an expert in this field. Don't claim to be an expert in this field, but I'm just trying to help, right? My brother John would be an expert in that field. He's been in sales for a very long time. And so I'm hoping to have John on the podcast actually at some point, and we will talk about that. But listen, here's the uncomfortable truth, right? The uncomfortable truth is this: most of us never look past the objection. We hear the objection. A lot of times we will assign intent to the objection, and that's it. We will blame our industry. We will blame the market, the government, the president, the Congress, the Senate. We'll blame cheap customers. We'll blame cheap service providers. But it's more difficult because it's more difficult to admit to the fact that maybe you're not losing because of who got elected. Maybe you're not losing in your industry because because there's cheaper competition. And maybe you're not losing because everybody in your area is just cheap customers. Maybe that's not what the problem is. Maybe you're just setting yourself in the wrong frame. You're watching this on YouTube right now. You have watched a YouTube video and thought to yourself, that's the wrong background music. Right? The video was great. The background music may have been great, but the two things together didn't make sense. It's set in the wrong frame. You've seen a picture hanging on a wall, right? Right? Maybe a black and white, a monochrome painting of some type hanging on a wall with a gold frame. the frame doesn't match the picture. Maybe that's actually what's happening in this sales process for you. Maybe the frame doesn't match the picture. What can you do about that? This is where, by the way, this is where a lot of guys just stop. They just stop growing. They stop trying to educate themselves. They stop trying to get that 1% better in their industry and in our industry that will help them to get past that objection, get past that rejection from the customer. So I hope that's not you, and it's probably not you. If you've made it to this point in the video, it's probably not you. You've probably hanging in here because, hey, you're hoping that I'm going to say something that's going to blow your mind, right? I don't know whether I can blow your mind, but I think I can help you, right? So listen, we tell ourselves exactly that, right? This industry is just bad. It just keeps getting worse. There's a bunch of low ballers out there. And listen, in pest control, we do have some legitimate issues within our industry. I've talked about this in a prior video before, but guys who are in this industry that are still in the that are still technicians, most of them are making the same amount of money I was making when I started in this industry. And that's an issue, right? If inflation, everything else that our country has gone through fiscally and financially, it's hard to support a family on that now. I was able to support a wife and kids on that paycheck, and I don't think a guy can do that anymore. And so, yeah, there are some problems within our industry, but overall, that's not really the problem. The problem is what's going on in here, right? So we keep discounting people because we think that, right, this is an industry issue. And the industry's pricing it here, so I got to price it here. Or, right, bunch of low ballers. If I'm going to get any work at all, I'm going to have to low ball myself. Right? That's what reacting is. That is reacting to the issue. You're not being proactive. You're not trying to figure out what's going on. You're not trying to get past the rejection or the objection. You're just reacting to the conversation that's taking place. You don't want to do that, right? Let's step outside of pest control for just a second, because this isn't just a pest control issue, right? It is in a service industry issue. It's human psychology, right? Some of the smartest minds in the world work on a consistent and a constant basis on trying to map out the sales process in people's minds. And some of them have got some great insight into doing that. There's been some great sales mentors in the past. One of my favorite, a guy named Zig Ziglar. If you've never heard Zig Ziglar, you probably haven't been in the sales space very long. But Zig Ziglar wrote several different books on sales and connecting with people. He's a legend, but he wrote a book in Secrets of Closing the Sale. He makes this statement: price is an issue only in the absence of value. Let me give you another quote real quick. Maybe this one's a little more recent. Here's a former FBI negotiator who wrote a book called Never Split the Difference. His name is Chris Voss. And he makes this statement: people's perceptions are their reality. Right? So what's the lesson? Right? What's the lesson in that? The lesson is this: you're not losing to price. You're losing to their perception of what the price should be. And so you have to guide their perception to what the price should be. Right? You're going to have to do some work here. Right? You're going to have to sit in some uncomfortable silences. Right? One of the greatest things I've learned over the course of my time in doing this on my own and trying to better myself, better my company, better our industry, one of the greatest things I've learned is the power of being uncomfortable, of being comfortable, being uncomfortable. That's what it takes sometimes. And so listen, what does that actually look like, right? How do you guide their perception? What does that look like on that, right, Friday afternoon? It's been a long week, phone in your hand, customer pushing back against your price. This is where, right, theory becomes reality. And you've got to cross a threshold now, right? From, yeah, this all sounds great, Nathan, but my boots are on the ground, right? I get it. My boots are on the ground every day too. So instead of defending the price, right, you're going to have to dig in. You're going to have to be really comfortable being uncomfortable, right? You're going to have to dig in and say, listen, help me understand the process that they explain to you, that they're going to provide you at a cheaper price. Help me understand this, right? I want to understand it for my own sake, right? Listen, here's a very powerful statement that you can make to people in this situation that I think will help you out, right? And that is this: hey, maybe my pricing is all messed up. For my sake, right, to help me price myself better the next time that I come across a customer like you in a situation like this, can you tell me what they're providing at what price? Right? Customers love to feel like they got a good deal. And they feel like people love to feel like they're helping people out. And so it'll help you, right? You don't have to get excited. You don't have to freak out. You don't have to be like, well, yeah, of course, Joe blows pest control down the street. They do a sucky job. They use bad chemicals. They got bad equipment. That guy's probably going to spray water on your house. Right? You don't have to do all that. Just be calm and be curious. Right? Just be curious and control yourself. Right? Don't attack your competitors. You've never attacked a competitor and came out of it looking better, even when they absolutely did suck. Right? You've never done that. It doesn't work out that way. You've never had that situation personally, right? Where you've been on the other side saying, hey, right, this guy's going to do it cheaper, and heard that guy go, well, yeah, well, he's going to do this and he's going to do that and he sucks, and you didn't think to yourself in that moment, you know what? This guy's right. Right? That's not what you did. What you thought to yourself was, man, this guy's bitter, right? You thought, man, this guy's got some issues, right? So don't attack your competitor. All you want to do is reset the frame, right? That's all you're trying to do. Like, hey, where are the borders here, right? Professionals take a step back, reset, and re-engage. Amateurs react, overreact, right, and end up causing themselves more problems. So, right, you want to be a professional. Listen, if this is helping you shift maybe some of your mindset, hit that like button, subscribe, share it with somebody you think that it'll help. Because, listen, positioning yourself properly is going to beat panicking every time. So let's get back into it, all right? So, listen, now we get to the part, right, that nobody really wants to admit, and that is this. It's not that the customer wants a discount that upsets us. It's our pride getting engaged, right? You don't understand how freaking hard I work. Right? That's what's really happening here. They, instead of looking at it, being able to pull back, look at it from, right, get the full picture, look at it from in an unbiased way. Our pride is involved in it, and whenever you feel like your pride's being attacked, it's going to be a problem. And so, right, disengage your pride for a second. Take a step back. Be curious. Hey, help me understand what they're doing for that price. Right? They're cheaper than me. Are they significantly cheaper than me, or just a little bit cheaper than me? Significantly. They're significantly cheaper than me? Well, help me. Right? I'm trying to make sure that I'm understanding this whole thing. I want to get better at what I do. Make sure that, right, I'm doing the best I can within the industry that I work in. Can you help me understand what they're doing for the price that they've offered you? Well, they're doing the exact same thing that you're doing, right? Walk back through your proposal with them. So they're installing 62 bait stations for less. They're going to come out and service those bait stations every month. They're going to take the old bait out, put new bait in. They're going to make sure that the bait stations are kept clean, de-webbed. They're doing that too. They're going to make sure that all the webs are knocked down. They're going to be using, right, a premium product like Suspend Polyzone versus, Bifin IT. They're offering the same thing. Right? Walk back through your proposal with them. Right? It's your opportunity to step back, reset, re-engage, and hey, let's see if we can push this thing through. Right? Let me sell myself again. Right? That's all that's happening here. Right? Here's what you're hearing when they say they found somebody cheaper. You're hearing, you don't value what I do. You don't think there's any value in me. There's a Stoic philosopher. I get a lot out of the Stoic philosophers. There's a Stoic philosopher that made the statement, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. It's been used, by the way, and books have been written on that exact statement. Here's another Stoic philosopher, Jocko Willmix, who used to be a Navy SEAL. He's the author of Extreme Ownership. But he says, listen, don't take anything personally. Right? I know that that's difficult. It's your business. This is your company. It's your truck. You're the one out there sweating. Right? It's difficult not to take things personally. I feel you. I'm on that side of the issue too. But objections are external. Reactions are internal. So, right, if you're reacting, you're making an internal, something's going on the inside of you. Their objection is not happening on the inside of them. And so, listen, whether you're going to profit from this situation or not is going to be very, very dependent upon your reaction. If you react, and how you react to this situation is going to depend how much money you make out of this situation. You might not make your money with this customer, but if they'll explain to you what's going on, right, it might adjust something in your head. You might think, you know what, they're right. I did overprice this, right? It wasn't paying enough attention to that spot, right? Something like that may help you to, listen, it may just help you become 1% better, which is going to help you profit in the future, but you might get the profit from this customer too, right? So listen, it'll click in your head at some point. So listen, this isn't a pricing problem, right? This is a positioning problem. And so that's why re-engaging, hey, what are you getting at that price, is going to allow you to go back through your proposal. It's going to allow you to reposition yourself with them, right? Maybe reposition yourself in a better spot than the competitor, right? That's why reacting is going to be negative. Be careful how you react, right? Most of us know who Warren Buffett is, the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, an investor. He makes the statement, right? Price is what you pay, value is what you get. And so if you took something off of your proposal, could you match that company's price? Right? This is how you reposition yourself, right? And I know that this all happens really fast. But you've got to be able to slow this stuff down in your mind. And when you're talking to that customer and they say, well, yeah, they're going to do it for cheaper. And right, most of the time they'll even let you know how much cheaper it's going to be, right? It allows you to engage and think, okay, well, if I took what off, would I be able to meet that price? And that allows you to re-engage with an educated, right, comment of, it sounds to me like they're doing 50 bait stations and not 60. Would that be accurate? All right, and then the customer says, well, yeah, well, we could do 50. If you want to do 50, I could do 50 at, right? It's allowing you to get back into that process, not devalue yourself, not give them a discount, right? But it allows you to re-engage, reposition yourself, reframe yourself, right? And so, listen, if you evaluate what's happening instead of reacting to what's taking place, right, it lets you pause, and then they pause, and they start thinking to themselves, well, yeah, wait a second. I did ask for 60 bait stations. They are only doing 50. I did tell you this. I didn't tell them that. Maybe these aren't the same. Maybe this isn't cheaper, right? I've had that conversation with customers before where I'm like, yeah, it sounds like they're giving you an entry-level price, and they're not doing this, they're not doing that. They're probably going to charge you X in the future for this. All right, so it sounds like you may have deferred some of your costs, but it sounds like you may have deferred it just to down the road, right? You've had that situation happen to you probably as well. So let's make this as simple as possible, right? If you want to stop losing to, I found somebody cheaper, you don't need to adjust your price sheet. You just need to change your position or change the frame that you've set yourself in. Here's what that looks like, right? Detach yourself from the anchor, right, of the price that you've given them, but guide them to detach from the anchor of the price that they've been given. Then let's rebuild, right? Let's rebuild the value, right? Reposition ourselves, redo the proposal, right? In real time, we're doing this. Get your ego out of the way, right? And then either qualify this as, hey, you know what? Sounds like they're offering you the same thing I'm offering you. Does sound like they're going to do it cheaper. If you're happy with them, then sounds like that's the direction you should go. Qualify them or let them go, right? And so ask yourself, right, or ask them, right? Well, are you looking for the best price or are you looking for the best service or a combination of those two? Right? That question will help you out a lot too, right? Sometimes you find out that is all that they care about is the price, right? I've had customers that's all they care about. They just want a price because all they really want is a piece of paper that says they had pest control so they can show that to the health board or show that to the housing board or whatever. Right? There's customers out there that are like that. You've probably had customers like that too. Listen, if all you want is a piece of paper and right, I personally can't do those kind of jobs because it's hard. Like I have a standard set in my head of what I expect out of myself and what I expect out of the job that I do. You probably do too. So you probably have the same problem that I have. When the customer tells you basically they don't care what you're doing, they don't care about your service, they just want a piece of paper that they can show to somebody, you're probably like I am and tell them, well, see you later, right? Deuces. But listen, it helps you reframe yourself, right? Confidence attracts the right customers. People are attracted towards confident people, and people are repulsed by desperate people, right? And so, listen, the next time that you hear that sentence, right, the next time that sentence comes out of one of your customers' mouth, I hope you'll have a different reaction. Don't panic. Don't discount. Just real calmly pull back, reset, and re-engage. Right? Well, wait. So they're doing all. Can I just real quick? I understand you're busy. I know you're busy. Would you just give me 5 more minutes of your time so that I can improve myself in this area? So in the proposal that we talked about, we were going to do X, Y, Z. They're doing X, Y, and Z for that price. Right? That's all it takes. It's just that reset, that re-engage, right? Because remember, you're not fighting competition. You are fighting an invisible anchor in the mind of the individual with whom you're having the conversation. So what are you trying to do? You're trying to get them to reset that anchor, right? So they're anchored in. Yeah, this guy's going to do it for, $150 and you were $200. And $150 is a better deal than $200, obviously. Well, okay, well, can you give me 5 more minutes of your time? I'm trying to improve myself in this area, right? And make sure that my pricing is right on point. Can you help me? The proposal that I have in front of me says that we were going to do X. They're going to do X. Okay. The proposal also says we're doing Y. They're doing Y. Okay. And it says here that we're doing Z. They're doing half of Z. Well, are you looking for only half of Z? Because if you're looking for only half of Z, I can adjust this proposal and we can have a conversation if that works for you. All right, that's all it takes. Right, just reset, re-engage. So listen, if this has helped you, I sure hope it's helped you. Like, share, subscribe. Right, I'm supposed to say smash that subscribe button according to all the YouTube people, right? But subscribe, and we're going to do a couple of videos. I'm doing a couple of videos on this kind of topic, right? So the next video I'm looking at doing is, what if price isn't the problem? How can you diagnose the real reason that customers push back? Right? We're going to dig a little deeper on this thing, go a little further. And so, listen, sometimes it's just the psychology of it, right? And sometimes it's not the psychology of it. You realize, yeah, they're not doing what I'm doing, but you're not sure how to get past that, how to dig down a little bit and get the customer to answer some questions. So we're going to talk about process next time. So, hey, I appreciate you being with me on Pest Profits today. And we'll see you on the next one.